Hi and welcome, I'm Hammeh, and in this series we're exploring the lore, backstory and characters of Overwatch's heroes, including more detail through their in-game voice lines and interactions. Before any map starts and during the game on various triggers, Overwatch heroes chatter with and react to each other in some funny in-game voice interactions. Along with their voice lines, these give us great insight into hero character, interests and backstories. In this video we're looking at Symmetra's lore, through her backstory, interactions with fellow heroes and the world around her. A light-bending architect working for the Vishkar Corporation, Satya Vaswani has been moulded by the Indian-based multinational into one of their top manipulators of hard-light tech for both constructive and destructive purposes. Satya's strong belief in both order being the best path for humanity and Vishkar's desire for similar has been challenged through her real-world experiences. Whether she'll take action on this now remains to be seen. Firstly, we'll go through Symmetra's lore and history. To understand Symmetra's story, we need to start with the world of science in Overwatch and the Vishkar Corporation. Before the first Omnic crisis struck, it seemed the world was on the verge of entering an economic golden age. Robotics and mass production had blossomed, with Omnic Corporation's apparently revolutionary advancements in automated construction, machines, and self-improving software algorithms, to advancements such as the development of huge skyscraper-building mechs called Titans, with the assistance of the Ironclad Guild and Torbjorn Lindholm. From physics to biochemical and physiological research, all boundaries of knowledge were pushed forward, perhaps even somewhat immorally, as the USA's secretive soldier enhancement program pushed the boundaries of human testing, blessing soldiers such as Jack Morrison and Gabriel Reyes with superhuman speed, strength and agility. In the midst of this rapidly developing world, advances were also made in hard-light technology, allowing physical objects to be materialised through the use of photon projectors, with the Vishkar Corporation of southern India becoming one of the leaders in using the technology in the field of construction. Vishkar as a corporation became known for their architects, people literally able to bend reality by manipulating these hard-light constructs. Although it seems hard-light manipulation can be learnt, only certain people apparently have the capability to do so, and as a result, Vishkar was continually scouting for talent in their Vishkar Academy. Many architects would be needed. Following the Omnic crisis, many cities and countries around the world began the slow process of rebuilding. In India, Vishkar acquired the laborious process of creating new self-sustaining cities in order to house the nation's displaced population after all the fighting. One of these cities was to be named Utopia. Created using radical hard-light tech, architects could make real-time changes to the city, shaping living spaces, utilities, and even city streets in the blink of an eye. It's at this stage that Satya Vaswani enters our story. Just 2 years old when the Omnic crisis was ended by Overwatch, Satya grew up in extreme poverty around Hyderabad, India, possibly in a slum-style environment of chaos, colour and stench, as we see in her comic that she finds the favelas of Rio de Janeiro too much like home. While she was growing up, Vishkar swooped. Satya was identified as one of the few capable of undergoing architect training and was placed in the care of Vishkar's Architech Academy, sadly never to return home. Whether this process was voluntary or otherwise, we don't know at this point. But we do know that Satya immersed herself in her education and training. Although she traded a life of poverty for privilege, clearly the switch wasn't an entirely happy one for her. Satya rapidly became isolated and lonely in her new life. She threw herself into her studies, quickly picked up the applications of photon projection, and soon became one of the top students in her class. Vaswani could do things that no one else could with hard light. Where her classmates and peers approached the light manipulation more mechanically, technically and precisely as a process, she chose a more creative and fluid route, instead choosing to weave her constructs in the motions of the traditional dances of her homeland. Rapidly rising to become one of the top architects in Utopia, the Vishkar Corporation saw far greater potential for what Vaswani could achieve. Instructed away from the construction aspects of architect life at the corporation, she was assigned the handle Symmetra, and sent on both ambassadorial and clandestine missions around the world, always with the goal of upholding Vishkar interests and expanding the corporation's global presence and influence. In Symmetra's comic, A Better World, we see just what one of those missions could look like and how Vishkar work as a corporation. At some time in the near past, between the first Omnic crisis and the present day certainly, Vishkar won a contract to redevelop large parts of Rio de Janeiro. We know that after this construction, controls were imposed on the residents in the name of building a more orderly society, curfews were enforced, crackdowns happened on what the company perceived as lawless behaviour, and the population were definitely exploited as a cheap labour workforce. All of this shows Vishkar's true ethics. Without spoiling the comic, we see Symmetra was sent to help negotiate this deal and to engage in corporate espionage when things don't go quite according to plan. Events then took a turn even she hadn't planned for, leading her to partially question whether Vishkar and her are truly making a better world. At the end of the comic, we see one of Satya's Vishkar colleagues say, "What fits their station and serves the greater order, that is how Vishkar works." Vishkar's sense of order is one that benefits Vishkar, really. We have to see Symmetra's personality from within this framework. As she's been brought up under the values of such a corporation, educated and perhaps slightly indoctrinated, we need to interpret her personality with all this in mind. Always wishing to engineer a perfect society with a supreme belief in order, Symmetra truly desires a greater good and believes that her actions with Vishkar serve that purpose. But there are times when she wonders whether the control and order she desires are truly the best thing for humanity in the future. As a personality, we're not sure precisely how many of Symmetra's values are from a Vishkar upbringing, and years of course following, being trained in, perhaps having the values instilled in her, but we can see a few character trends nonetheless. Symmetra, both in her voice lines and her comic, is a big believer in order, perhaps a little obsessively so.
This is the order of things. Order is restored. From order springs harmony.
In spite of this, she does seemingly have this true desire to make the world a better place and improve things for people. In her comic, for example, we see that she wants to make life better for the people living in the favelas of Rio. But she does frame this thinking in a slightly awkward, some would say almost clinical fashion.
I will correct society's flawed design. I will shape order from chaos. Freedom is a convenient illusion.
Even with this hard edge to what Symmetra says regarding order, if you read her comic, she does have a softer side. And of course, Symmetra's had a lonely childhood, and then works pretty much as a lone agent. So when she says this, I actually feel kind of sorry for her.
I am used to working alone.
She's used to being alone for a big chunk of her life. Symmetra's ability to bend light has given her a unique perspective on the definition of reality that she's only too happy to share with people.
Do not believe everything you see. You are trapped in your own mind. You are unworthy of the true reality.
She does, however, see beauty in things. It's not all order and chaos in Symmetra's world.
Reality is my playground. The world is a dream not yet realized. If I can think it, I can create it. There is beauty in this. Imagine what this could be. Beauty can be found where everything is in harmony.
So, if harmony comes from order and beauty can be found where everything is in harmony, then that's quite a nice summary of Symmetra's core beliefs. Order allows harmony, and from harmony beauty can spring. Will Symmetra ever discover that there can be beauty without order perhaps? Or beauty in chaos? I look forward to finding out. Time to play the reference game. Now there's just a couple for you today.
Form and function.
Form and function is a reference to industrial design. Now apparently this is a principle associated with modernist architecture and industrial design in the 20th century, as well as product design too. Kind of relevant to Symmetra and her Architech work. How about this one?
Now this is better. A place for everything and everything in its place.
This line almost sounds like a Vishkar Corporation slogan or mantra. Symmetra goes on about places and everything having a place a lot. It's semi-attributed to Ben Franklin, of course, a founding father of the United States, known for his work on electricity, but he also did work on the wave theory of light, apparently. So again, that fits very well with Symmetra's hard light technology. And finally, a one that you'll probably all know.
The cake is a lie. Or is it? The cake is not a lie.
Now, both of those obviously, no massive surprise considering how much Symmetra shares with aspects of Valve's Portal design, especially her photon projector, so a fun nod to that there from Blizzard. It's good to know that Symmetra can have a little joke too. She's clearly quite a serious character, but clearly the philosophy of cake existence is also important to her, as it should be to us all of course. As she's never been part of Overwatch and at the age of 28, Symmetra has most probably worked in a post-Overwatch world for the last 6 years since its fall. We can't be 100% sure if she's met any of the cast from her lore so far, but she does have a few interactions with people who she may have crossed paths with due to it. From Lucio's bio, we know that following Vishkar's redevelopment of Rio, their treatment of the populace and failed promises around redeveloping the favelas led to discontent. This eventually led to Lucio stealing Vishkar sonic technology and leading an uprising, driving Vishkar out of the favelas. As a result, even though we don't know in canon whether Lucio and Symmetra have directly met, as one of Vishkar's top agents, she's surely aware of him and his deeds against her employer. The two share no love, unsurprisingly, when they're on the same team.
To think I should have to work with a street ruffian.
I'm not all that excited about this arrangement either.
And Lucio's desire for freedom and Symmetra's desire for order, of course, come to a clash.
What you Vishkar will never understand is that people should be free.
What you call freedom, I call anarchy.
Symmetra's never slow to remind Lucio that he's using borrowed equipment.
You should return what you stole from Vishkar.
And when Symmetra kills an enemy Lucio, we clearly see that she's not above dispensing some of her own form of justice.
A punishment for your crimes.
Given that Symmetra is very advanced in her use of hard-like tech, she has some natural crossover engineering interests between her and Torbjorn. Again, we don't know if they've met or not, but the two have some conversations on technology, mostly Symmetra mocking Torbjorn's. When Symmetra spawns or perhaps sees an armor-packing game, we get these interactions.
Armor? How positively medieval.
No one asked for your opinion.
And another on Torbjorn's turrets maybe. Again, think this is a spawn unless you've heard it elsewhere.
I am impressed. I would not think such crude creations actually function.
Why, thank you. I must admit I'm surprised. Hey!
And then, wow, not sure what to make of this one. Symmetra likes order. I'm pretty sure she'd know if there was a mark on her.
There's something on your dress.
No, there isn't.
We know Symmetra's been to Rio de Janeiro, at least from her digital comic, and has presumably travelled a bit more of the world on Vishkar business, but our only map line I know of is currently linked in Dorado, although there are a line or two in addition that I can't place. In Dorado on Spawn, Symmetra mentions the following.
This would be a perfect location for a Vishkar development.
We of course know that Dorado is being revamped in terms of its power supply along with the rest of Mexico by President Guillermo, an ex-war hero who's in charge of Limerico. Finally, I found this line that sounds like it might be a map trigger elsewhere. Has anyone heard this in game?
How can anyone tolerate such chaos?
Thanks for tuning in to my lore, story and voice line video series for Symmetra. I hope you learned a bit more about her. Please do subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it, and comment below on what you think of the video and Symmetra's character. Tell me what you reckon. Is she good, bad, or perhaps just misunderstood? For many more of these videos for other Overwatch heroes and villains, hit the Hero Lore and Voice Line series playlist on the left, or subscribe to make sure you never miss my latest videos. As a bonus, I'll be dropping 2 of these this week, so keep an eye out for the next one on Friday. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Hammeh. Take it easy, hero.